Bill, here is what the Pope said. In the spirit of worldliness exists today. Today also brings us this desire to be progressive, following a single thought. These people have negotiated the fidelity to the Lord in this people, moved by the spirit of the world, negotiated their own identity, negotiated belonging to a people that God loves so much that he desires to be like him. When I saw the word progressive, I don't think the Pope means the Progressive Party per se, but I think he understands the idea of progress to make progress, and things are not anchored to anything real or eternal. Am I reading it wrong or right?
No, I think you're reading it exactly right. What he means is that it's really not progress to move away from our Christian heritage. I mean, you take a look at Europe, they won't even put it in their constitution, the European Union. We know that the background, the history, and the heritage of Europe is that of Christianity. The same thing is taking place in North America and Canada and the United States. There's this deracination, this rootlessness, this attempt to secularize and to move away from and to be apologetic, beginning with the President of the United States, about our own Christian heritage.
It's interesting to me that he talks about he talks about this global community that is being built by leaders all around the world, and he warns about it, and he warns that people need to stand up for individualism and stand up for what their faith teaches. How is the press and how are the progressive Catholics going to explain what the president just said? It's just based on HHS. You guys fighting against, Obamacare.
Well, that's just it. And particularly the Catholic community is concerned about imposing this idea of forcing us to abide by his stricture, which is to say that we want abortion-inducing drugs in our health care plans. No. What the Pope is concerned about is this secularization. And, I hope the Catholic left get the message of what the Pope said yesterday so presciently in his homily. He's talking about this idea that if we continue to go down the road of ripping up our Christian heritage and becoming increasingly secular, if that's the idea of progressivism, we're done in this country. I mean, the public square is going to be filled with something. Traditionally, it's been filled with the Judeo-Christian ethos in this country. In the 20th century, when Christianity was stamped out, you had totalitarianism. You saw it with Pol Pot, you saw it with Mao, you saw it with Hitler, you saw it with Stalin. No, the public square has to be filled. It's never empty. And better to have the Judeo-Christian ethos upon which this country and Western civilization was built, as opposed to this kind of deracinized, rootless kind of condition that the Pope is warning against.
Can I ask you a question, Bill? Feel free, don't have to answer this, but you said you hope the Catholic left gets it. I mean, there are people that are even in my faith that are on the uber left that I don't even think they're trying to get it. I mean, there is, they're going sometimes out of tradition, and they're worshiping a new god. That if the god of the market or the god of this world says, we have to do this to get along and go along, they do it. They do it. So the progressive Catholic, are they really? Because I know a lot of them that will say, well, I don't agree with this Pope. Well, you can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose. He's either setting the doctrine or not.
Yeah, I think it's even worse than that, quite frankly. First of all, the difference between the religious left, whether it's my religion, your religion, or somebody else's, and that of the secular left is infinitesimal. They're basically one and the same. It's just that some people have their foot in the Catholic camp or the Mormon camp or the Jewish camp or whatever it might be. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. And in terms of the Catholic left, which I know best, there's an attempt to cherry pick this Pope's words, sometimes with the liberal veneer that he might have, and then they're using it as a sledgehammer to tell people like me to just shut up. I was told point blank by Chris Cuomo on CNN here a couple of months ago that when the Pope was saying, you know, pull back a little bit from being obsessed with abortion and other kinds of issues, that he had me in mind. I'm sure the Pope had Bill Donahue in his mind. You see, the point is that, I mean, now this kind of lunacy, but I've been told many times by a number of people on the Catholic left that, you know, we have to listen. Since when did the Catholic left have any interest in fidelity to what the Holy Father has ever said? They certainly asked us to be in rebellion against Benedict and John Paul II. And let me tell you, they're not going to accept this Pope. This Pope is not one of them.
That's what I find curious, and that, quite honestly, that's a warning sign for me. When they have been heralding him, I thought, what do they know that I don't know? Because they never herald somebody who is actually speaking the truth and saying something from, you know, my perspective or your perspective. And so they've heralded him. But is it my imagination, or has the press been pretty quiet on what he said yesterday? Because I'm not really seeing this everywhere in mainstream media.
They've said nothing about it.
Nothing.
The press has said nothing about it because they don't know how to interpret it. Look, what the left is trying to do, particularly the Catholic left, is tell the rest of us to kind of, you know, shut up and line up single file. We know, you know, the Pope knows best. Well, quite frankly, they have grossly misinterpreted some of the statements that he has made, and they're doing so willfully. They know exactly what they're doing. They're trying to get us to be in line with their kind of an agenda. And by the way, when they talk about social justice, it has to be said, the people who give the least amount of money and of their time and voluntary activities are the people on the left, religious left and the secular left. Okay. We don't need to be lectured to by the left, telling us conservatives and people of faith about how to help the poor. We're the ones who write the checks, not them.
But I have to cut you off there. I'll let that be the last word. Back in a second.